Good morning, students. Today I'm discussing about the first portion of the human circulatory system for class 10. So as for the chapter concerns, like in your revised syllabus, so many things has been reduced, but you need to know the very basic things, and here we start. So what is circulatory system? The circulatory system is a system inside the human body as well as the animal's body, generally comprising the heart and the blood vessels that transport the bloods and also the lymph, okay, which carries our nutritions, our oxygens and carbon dioxide and the excretory materials, and also the hormones. Okay, so it's the system comprising the heart and the blood vessels. That is a very basic things. So what is the need of transport inside the body? Look, the digestive systems digest and absorbs nutrients which are needed to be transported to every cell of the body, isn't it? So we do take, we live, we need the energy, we take that from our food. So the food is being digested to the smallest portions, and they are the necessary supplements that are needed for our body to run and to do all the works. So those things need to be transported to all the cells of the body where the cellular respiration takes place. Okay, the respiratory system draws in air, and the oxygen picked up from it in the lungs has to be transported to all parts of the body. Absolutely, because oxygen is our necessary things, isn't it? Because oxygen, by oxygen we can live, and oxygen also do the cellular respiration, the aerobic respiration, and it produces carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide need to be released from our body, and we need oxygen. So this transfer, especially the transport of this oxygen and carbon dioxide by the RBCs. You all know that blood, human blood, it contains RBCs, and RBCs have hemoglobin. What is the function of hemoglobin? It generally carries the oxygen and carbon dioxide. It helps in the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, so that it's the circulatory system, it plays a very vital role with the respiratory system. All the extra water, excess salts, and the nitrogenous wastes such as urea have to be removed from different parts and have to be sent to the excretory system to be thrown out of the body. So it also helps in excretion. Hormones secreted by the endocrine system have to be carried throughout the body by the circulating blood to act wherever required, and so on. Yes, absolutely. Hormones, like as we are growing and we have all those metabolic functions in our body, so for that the hormones need to be transported, and the circulatory system aids in that function. Okay, so fluids in our body. What are the fluids available in our human body? As this chapter is generally discussed about that circulatory system in human beings, so there are three types of fluids. First, the key one is the blood, which contained in the heart and in the blood vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries of the circulatory system. Tissue fluids occupying spaces between the cells in the organs. Okay, and lymph, which is contained within lymph vessels and lymphatic organs such as spleens and the tonsils. So let me tell you what is tonsil. Tonsil actually is a small gland, small lymph gland, which do produces antibodies. Actually it have the lymphocytes. Okay, I will discuss about it later on. So look, here is the structure of our respiratory of our circulatory system. The main portion is the heart, and there we have our lungs, and this is our body. Okay, so the pulmonary artery, pulmonary veins, all these blood vessels, the arteries, the veins, they take the blood, take and they actually bring the blood to the heart. That blue color portion you can see, this blue color denotes the deoxygenated blood, and the red color it denotes the oxygenated or pure blood. So it all helps in that. So what is the property of blood? Never stationary. Yes, blood is never stationary, it is in the motion. Color, it is quite bright red in color, and dark red when it's being taken from the vein, because a dark red actually it's for when the blood is carrying carbon dioxide. Okay, and bright red when the blood is carrying the oxygen. So the oxygenated blood is being carried by the artery, and the deoxygenated blood it's being carried generally by the veins. Volumes, human have approximately 5 liters of blood. Taste saltish, that's it. So function of blood, it plays two very vital function. First one is transport and second one is protection. So what are the transport? You already know it. The transport of digested food materials and transport of oxygen, transport of carbon dioxide, transport of excretory material, distribution of hormones, distribution of heat. So let me tell you about the transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, so as I've already discussed before, that the blood, human blood, especially the RBCs, it contains what? It contains hemoglobin. So when the hemoglobin it binds with the oxygen, it forms an unstable compound known as oxyhemoglobin. You can see here Hb plus O2 is forming HbO2. So that is oxyhemoglobin. Okay, it means when you are just breathing in, so you are taking oxygen, and your RBCs, they generally do carry the oxygen in a and forms an unstable compound which is known as oxyhemoglobin. Okay, and on the same time you are going to release the carbon dioxide that's being produced inside your body, so that's being also carried by some of the RBCs, and when that hemoglobin it binds with the carbon dioxide, it produces carbaminohemoglobin. Okay, so always remember, when the hemoglobin is carrying oxygen, it is known as oxyhemoglobin, and when the hemoglobin it's carrying carbon dioxide, it is carbaminohemoglobin. Okay, excretory materials, you already know it. Distribution of hormone, very easy. And heat, the blood helps in keeping the temperature of the body uniform by distributing heat. Protection by blood, yes, protection. The first protection is that the blood protect you from blood loss. How? The blood have two types of cell, not two types, actually three types of cells. First one is that RBC, then WBC and platelets. So these platelets helps you in the clotting, means suppose you have any sort of injury and blood is oozing out from that injury site. So what your blood will do, it will induce, it will kickstart a function, a process through which that it ensures that no more blood gets lost from your body. Okay, then second one is that it helps in protecting your body from germs. The WBCs are there, they kill the bacteria which have entered inside the body, and also it produces antibodies. Okay, antibodies are your friendly proteins, you can say, which protect you from getting infected. Clear? So three functions generally. First one is that engulfing bacteria, second one is here that blood clotting, and third one is producing antibodies. Okay, composition of blood have two portions. One is the cellular portion and one is the plasma. Plasma means the liquid portion of the blood. It constitute about 55%, and the cellular elements, it constitute 40 to 45%. Okay, so plasma, the liquid portion of the blood, it contain water, proteins, inorganic salts and other substances. Cellular elements, red blood cells, white blood cells and blood platelets. Let me tell you one more thing, that the proteins inside the plasma, just remember one name, that is fibrinogen. Okay, so that is the one protein. So cellular elements, red blood cells, white blood cells and blood platelets. So what is the shape of RBCs? They are biconcave disc like structure, flat on the center and thick and round at the periphery. Okay, they are very small, and the small size enables the red blood cells to travel through very fine capillaries in the body, where they have to travel in a single file. And these RBCs, they do carry the hemoglobin, which is a respiratory pigment. The hemoglobin is formed by a iron containing part, hemin, and protein globin. So both of them making your hemoglobin. Okay, so what is the capability? You already know it, that hemoglobin, it can carry oxygen and it can also carry carbon dioxide. When it's bonded with oxygen, it is known as what? Let's go to that slide. It's known as oxyhemoglobin, and when it's bonded with carbon dioxide, it is known as carbaminohemoglobin. Okay, so not many things is required here. The life and death of RBC. RBCs have very less lifetime, which is 120 days. Okay, lifespan of RBC is 120 days. Let me see what the WBC has went. So the RBCs, the human RBCs, it have some speciality. Okay, you know, the human RBC, it's devoid of any nucleus. So why? Look here, you can see that human RBC, it have no nucleus, no mitochondria, no endoplasmic reticulum. So loss of nucleus makes the red blood cells biconcave, thus increasing their surface area volume ratio for absorbing more oxygen. Because space in between it has increased, more RBCs can be accommodated in the same spaces. Because the space, as a lack of nucleus, it gives the speciality to the RBC to enjoy much more spaces. Loss of mitochondria and and there is no endoplasmic reticulum, so they all gives the RBC a quite reflexible shape, so it can pass through any capillaries. Okay, so these are the speciality of RBCs. Now white blood cells, they are also known as leukocyte. I have just forgot one thing. The other name of RBC are erythrocyte. Okay, so the other name of white blood cells are leukocytes. So the leukocytes, they do have nucleus inside them, and leukemia and leukopenia, two terms are there. Leukemia is known as blood cancer, where the number of WBC they increased in an abnormal amount, that is leukemia, and when the amount of WBC decreased, it is known as leukopenia. Okay, the function of leukocytes: phagocytosis means it's the process by which the WBC, especially there are some types of WBCs like first one is your neutrophil, then eosinophil, then basophil, and lymphocyte and monocytes. There are 5 types of WBCs. So what they do crawl around and they just eat the bacteria or the germs that are circulating inside our blood. So that process of protecting our body by that engulfing those bacteria and foreign particles, it is known as phagocytosis. So here you can see that the types of WBC, 2 types of WBCs are there. One is granular and another one is non-granular. Neutrophil, eosinophil, basophils, they are the granular. Look, their nucleus shape, that is there are 3 lobes in the nucleus, there are 2 lobes quite headphone shaped, and this is basophil, and lymphocytes and monocytes, these are non-granular. You can see here the granules, that red dots are there, so these are the granules here, and in this case non-granular, there is no granules. Okay, so the functions are there, you just go through it, the functions of this WBCs, separate WBCs. Okay, inflammation occurs due to the reaction of tissues to injury and to localized invasion of germs. So what happened, suppose any germs or any injury happened to your body or your outer body layer in the skins. So what happened, that just you think just one mosquito or suppose any small cut happened to your skin. So to protect yourself, what happened, the WBC, they goes through the blood vessels. You can see the diagram is here. Look, their function, this is the white one is the WBCs and this is your blood vessels. So in the next step, the WBC is trying to go through the blood vessels and they have went outside the blood vessels and they will go to that injury site or that mosquito bitten site or anything, and they start protecting you. So that process is known as diapedesis. Okay, look here, it's being mentioned, the leukocytes migrate through the walls of the blood vessels by diapedesis and fight against disease causing germs. They also destroy the germ damaged cells by phagocytosis. Okay, so you can understand that what is it. The formation of antibodies, WBC, they do produces antibodies, and antibodies, you all have that idea in this pandemic situations. You are quite smart enough to know what is antibodies. Let me tell you, it's a very small proteins. They are very essential for our bodies and generally produced by WBCs. Okay, the WBCs produce antibodies which kill or neutralize the germs or the poison from them. Clear? So this, up to this, it was the function of RBCs and WBCs. Now the function of platelets. So for the platelets, the other name of platelets are thrombocyte. So they do, their main function is a blood clotting, is to clot the blood. Okay, let me tell you one more thing about that. The ratio of human RBC and the human WBC is 720, or you can just say 700 is to 1, means 1 WBC per 700 RBCs. That is a normal ratio. Okay, because RBC are much more numerous than WBCs inside our blood. So what is the function of platelets? Clotting of blood or coagulation. When blood vessel is cut, blood escapes from it, but soon a clot is formed on the wound and the flow of blood is stopped. If it are not so, the injured person would bleed to death. Yes, absolutely. If there is less platelets in your blood, then what can happen, that it can lead you to death even by a very small injury, because there will be no one to block the blood loss. Okay, so clotting occurs in a series of steps as follows. Look, it's very important, and just be with me. So look, the injured tissue cells and the platelets which disintegrate at the site of the wound release substance thrombokinase. So who is that? The platelets. When any injury is being happened, so when the blood start to lose, what happened? The platelets, they are very fragile, they are very soft. Okay, they can be broken down by that injury, and when they broken down, they produces an enzyme known as thrombokinase. The thrombokinase acts as an enzyme, and with the help of calcium ions present in the plasma, it converts a substance prothrombin. So this thrombokinase, it converts prothrombin to thrombin. Prothrombin is an inactivated form of proteins. It makes it activate to thrombin. Thrombin, in the presence of calcium ion, reacts with the soluble fibrinogen of the plasma to convert it into insoluble fibrin. I have already told you that there is a protein in the blood plasma known as fibrinogen. So what happens? This thrombin activates this fibrinogen to produce fibrin. Then this fibrin, they makes a net-like structure, and that blocks the injury site. Here is a diagrammatic view. You can see here that main reaction in blood clotting: injured tissue cells and platelets, they releases thrombokinase. Thrombokinase, it activates the prothrombin to thrombin. Then the activated thrombin, it goes on to activating fibrinogen, and this fibrinogen turns to fibrin. Then fibrin forms a network of sticky threads, and as a result, the blood clot happens. Okay, so that's it. Look, this is the blood clotting in test tube. What happened? This is a normal blood. This is the serum, yellow colorish one. These are the fibrin threads. You can see the thread-like structure, and these are the blood corpuscles. So after some time, if they just keep it like that, what happened? The human blood, and generally all the bloods, they start clotting, and this is the yellow colorish serum. Okay, so serum is the part of plasma without the clotting factor. Okay, so that's it. The blood groups is there, the blood transfusion. We will do that in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and do let me know what you else want to know. Okay, thank you.